Hey, welcome to a long overdue episode of the GigTube podcast with me, Chad, aka GigTube. And you guys might remember Dave, right? What's going on, man?
Hey, good to see you again, Chad.
I see you still got the epic beard.
I do. They haven't got to me yet. I have not shaved it yet.
Yeah. I know. Like I can't even like see your mouth move, you know?
It does hurt me because I do a couple of other regular shows. Mm-hmm. And one of them's like kind of comedy, kind of like talking. Yeah. And because I don't emote on screen, people will take my jokes super seriously and think I'm telling the truth because I'm not breaking.
Right.
So yeah, but no, they haven't got me to shave it yet. I love it, and it's staying for the foreseeable future.
Okay. So this is kind of like a pilot episode because I thought about bringing back the GigTube podcast. So like this might be just a one and done, or this might be a new weekly or daily thing for all I know. So, I don't know about you, but two of my favorite influencers or whatever are Tim Pool and Michael Malice. Especially, well, actually, I kind of like them both evenly. I kind of agree with Malice more than Tim Pool, but in fact, I actually have Michael Malice's book, The Anarchist Handbook.
Yeah, so likability wise, I don't care for Mike anymore, but
really,
but us getting along as far as if we were in the same room, what we would disagree on is pretty small. Whereas somebody like Dave Smith, I really like and think he's likable, but now that he's moved so far into the political realm instead of being in the like philosophy / like libertarian stuff, I don't agree with Dave Smith as much as I do with Michael Malice, but I like Dave more than Michael, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't watch anymore. So Tim is somebody that I just don't watch, and I haven't kept up to date on any changes in his thoughts.
All right. So this is from Tim Pool's IRL show from 2 nights ago, June 9th, featuring Michael Malice, and they're talking about DoorDash, and that's pretty relevant to us because that's it's one of our jobs. Especially me. I don't know if you do DoorDash anymore or not, but
I have never done DoorDash.
You're still into the gig economy, though.
I've been looking at stuff again to help some people that might move up to New Hampshire, but I haven't done it myself in a long time. The last thing I was serious about was Instagram. I mean, Instacart. Yeah.
All right, so I'm going to play this. If you want me to stop, just give me a signal or say pause or whatever. Yep. And we'll just comment on it. All right, so here we go.
We got Alpha to Omega says, howdy people. The illegal alien crisis has been a part of the economy for so long that there will be a housing and labor crisis due to deportations. Stop kicking the can down the road and fix it. Pay the cost.
I don't know.
It means that, let me tell you about DoorDash. I'm at my limit, bro. Did I tell you about DoorDash already?
Yes, Tim.
I did.
And I'm sure you told the audience about it 3 times.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I've never mentioned it before.
I did it for the second time in my life over the weekend, and I was giddy.
We use DoorDash. And now I'm going to ID every driver because
Karen.
So look, let me tell you, Michael. We get people who send us food.
Let me tell you, brother.
Let me tell you about what happens when someone sends food here. You know what do you think we do with it?
Throw it in the garbage.
Indeed, we do.
Of course.
Food that arrives from sources we can't verify is garbage.
Yes.
Trashed right away. So what happens when I order food from DoorDash?
I got sent shroom.
And it says Miguel is coming.
I'm right here.
And then a blonde woman gets out of a car.
Oh, yes.
And says Miguel's not here. I'm supposed to go, okay, random lady, I'll eat that random food you're giving me. I get pissed off. Okay. For the most part, I just said, okay, whatever, I don't know. It turns out what they do is they're DoorDash scams. One person will sign up, create an account, and then basically hire a small group of people who are ineligible either because they're illegal immigrants or they're denied or rejected for some reason, and then skim off the top. And I'm sick and tired of having random people show up. We have security already. We have security issues. It's frustrating.
You know what else?
I don't want to deal with it.
If you're skimming off the top, how much do money these DoorDash people? They're not
a lot.
What? It's like the benefits very low because they're doing a bunch at once.
They're running a company basically with tons of people.
No, but I mean, how much is each? You're skimming off, and people are barely making anything.
So you sit at home and you send a text message, and you get $5.
Yeah, you're right.
So they might say you keep the tips and we'll keep everything else. I don't know. All I know is finally, like we did a delivery today, and there's some woman, and I'm like, no, we're waiting for a dude who's I'm texting with right now. No, I wasn't. I don't know who that is, and I don't want to eat food from a person. I already don't know who the DoorDash drivers are, but at least I know if it's a verified individual, I can message a company and say, this is the guy who delivered it. What if I get sick or my family gets sick, or the employees get sick, and they say, Rick was your delivery driver, and I say, no, it was a woman with blonde hair, and they say, that's not us. We don't know who that is.
This is what you do. You bring back Ian and make him the food tester.
Right. I'm getting a little bit of echo in my headset right now. But the video's over. Maybe we can correct that. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So a couple clarifications on there is I don't think like there's like a like kind of like what he's alluding to is like those bought and sold accounts. I don't know if you watch Steve at RideshareRodeo. He's been harping on this for years, and he talks about this a lot. Like not so much illegal people, but illegal accounts. Is like sometimes like people just like your identity gets stolen, and then they use your social security number to create a DoorDash account or Uber Eats or whatever. And, you know, that's how they work on DoorDash without having to pay taxes. Because there's stories, I don't have time to Google it right now, like people just getting a tax bill for, you know, working on DoorDash. And like they've never done a DoorDash delivery in their life. And like, you know, like if you go on Facebook or Craigslist or the bowels of the internet, you're going to see like, you know, like like you can buy a DoorDash account or buy an Amazon Flex account. And this has been going on for years. Like when you and I both started our shows.
Yeah.
We probably talked about this like 5 years ago.
Yeah. I mean, where do we go? Do we go political? Do we go philosophical? Do we go pragmatic? Because I got a lot of stuff running through my head. I can understand what Tim's saying. That I wish Mike would have spoken up louder, because he probably would have echoed what I would think is those aren't huge concerns to me. I guess you want to be able to vet the food that's coming to you. But at the same time, is Tim Pool worried about somebody hacked into the system of DoorDash and they got a liaison from China who's stealing the food and poisoning it to kill Tim? It's like, it's such a, like, it's just not really my concern. The bigger concern is you're trapping these people almost into like a slavery type thing where they're working for low wages. You're holding them under fear because if they're working illegally, then they have no recourse if something goes bad or how much money they're taking from them. And then there's somebody running the system of like a, you know, a food delivery service cartel, basically, with these individuals that could say no, not pay them, cut them off at any time. Yeah. And then guys like you that are trying to make an honest living, now you're competing with these people that are under the radar that probably don't pay taxes, don't have expenses, might be collecting huge subsidies so they can work for those lower fees. And it screws up the economy of wages that would work themselves out in an actual free market for these delivery services.
Yeah. And you know what also I kind of got to correct him on is like, you know, he said like Miguel shows up and it's a blonde lady or whatever. That's first of all, like, cause he's like in like a compound and like, you know, he's been doxxed a few times. So, like, I understand like his concerns for like the physical safety or like for the average person, you know, in an average house, in an average home, average city, they order average DoorDash order. And like he said, it's a man's name, but a woman shows up at the door. I assume that like probably 8 out of 10 people probably don't think much of it. Like, oh, this is the driver's wife and the driver is in the car or vice versa. Because that does happen. I do see husbands and wives doing DoorDash, Instacart, all that stuff together, especially Amazon Flex. Every time I'm at the warehouse, it's 2 people, you know, doing a car, which to me is a waste of time because you have to split that money between 2 people instead of 1, you know?
The scarier thing would be a Lyft driver or an Uber driver. If I was looking at somebody named Miguel on my Lyft pickup or my Uber pickup, and I'm going to get into the car is the same, but then I look and it's a totally different person with a totally different name. I'm not getting into that Lyft or Uber. That's especially if you're a woman, that's a really dangerous situation. So that I could see his argument being a little bit more sound. With food, like you're saying, with food delivery, there's plenty of scenarios where I could just imagine, like maybe they need money for the house, but the husband's sick. So the wife's like, look, I'll just use your account. We need the money to come in. The husband rests a couple of days. The wife goes right. And it's like a house account, not necessarily some cartel running it. Yeah.
I know. Like of all the gig apps, DoorDash has like the least amount of security on our end because like they don't require us drivers to take a picture of ourselves, because like on Instacart, when you order Instacart, it shows you a picture of your shopper and driver, like who's coming.
Yep.
Some apps like will actually, well, I know like Uber and Lyft, they'll tell you the exact make and model and color of the car, and you'll see the driver's picture. So yeah, like there's like some security there. It's like, you know, if you're getting a ride from me, you're going to see me in a white minivan, you know, but if I show up and I'm in, you know, a black Civic or something, you know, then something's up. So yeah, I think DoorDash absolutely needs to have drivers upload pictures of themselves, and like they don't do that. I don't think Grubhub does that either. I'm trying to think like which apps do and don't do that, but like that would be a good security measure right there. Also, I mean, for any average person, even if you're not worried about like your safety, but it's just, you know, that thing like, hey, it says it's a man, but a woman delivered it, or vice versa. Call DoorDash, Uber Eats, or whoever and tell them that, and say the person who is in the app did not deliver my food, and I'm concerned.
You'll probably get a free food if you were to start ratting these people out. You know?
Leo wants to be on camera. Say hi, bud.
So just for a second, one thing I like to do philosophically is just like steel man arguments.
Right.
And so I was doing it kind of hyperbolically before, but I mean, do people think, for instance, you would have to go into a Chipotle, you'd have to look on the shelf. Do they have the name and address on the receipt that you're going to be delivering to? So you don't know where it's going or when it's going to be there. So you would assume that if you're going to steal that food, you have some connection to the driver, because you have to know that that's going there, and then you'd have to get paid. Because if not, the crime would be just steal the Chipotle and eat it, because you'd be technically making probably more money than delivering the food. Yeah. You'd be making whatever the Chipotle was worth with no time, gas, wear and tear, energy. So they have some connection to who's ever signed up for that app.
Yeah, there's still a bit more on this, so I'm gonna bring this back. They go on.
I'm interested to see what Mike says to him.
Yeah, me too.
Well, it's actually real simple. We're just gonna have security check IDs.
Okay, sure.
And if a DoorDash driver pulls up and their name does not match the account, we're gonna reject it, and we're gonna tell DoorDash pay for it. And that's annoying, but it's more annoying when it's a problem for us when a vehicle pulls in and we don't know.
Sure, of course, yes.
Like security camera goes off, security people are like,
can we talk about this? That catch got swatted?
Yeah.
Has that stopped? I thought like a lot of like right of center influencers were getting swatted like one after another. Did that stop?
The big wave did.
Yeah, okay.
I think they said they arrested somebody who was doing it in a
They're talking about Cash Patel getting swatted, and they do come back to DoorDash in a minute, so I'm just gonna let this play.
Okay.
country or something. But swatting is still happening.
I also think it's crazy how easy it is to swat someone.
I think this is a bit Karen-y, perhaps, but I'm sick of the illegal immigrants doing the DoorDash scam. And it's not just that. Like when I get an Uber, check the license plate and get the name of the driver, because you don't want to get in a car with a stranger for obvious reasons.
But it's in your phone already. It shows you the name of the driver's license plate.
That's my point. You call an Uber, and then the car pulls up and you say, we're looking for 5931, and then there's a picture of the guy,
right?
And you look at him and say, that's the right guy.
I've never had you've had a different person?
No.
Okay.
I'm saying that's good.
Oh, yeah, correct.
It's a problem that DoorDash doesn't have photos. And
I see what you're saying.
I'm sick of the illegal. This is a major scam. A person will sign up and then have illegal immigrants do the deliveries. They'll create accounts and then give the account and the passwords to illegal immigrants so they can work in this country and make money. And then they take a percentage and give them the cash. I'm done with that. I'm sick of it. I don't really care that much. Like, I don't know who the person is in the first place. They show up. The problem is it's a security issue. When I say we're getting a delivery, it says Rick. And then a woman pulls in and she goes, I'm here with DoorDash. And they go, who are you? Nobody ordered this. We're waiting for Rick.
I always have contactless delivery. Put it at my door. I don't want to see anyone or talk to anyone.
The problem we have is that we have gates and armed guards.
Yeah.
So
it's a different situation for you.
I told DoorDash, at this point, we are going to ID check anybody delivering for you guys. And I said to the customer service, I was like, I'm just informing you, this means 100% of our deliveries will be rejected and you're going to pay. And they were like, that's fine, sir. ID checks are normal. I said, okay. So
they're comfortable with ID checks.
Yes.
Oh, well, that's interesting.
I mean, what happens when you work in an office in New York and you
sure, I understand, but like
someone at Fox News orders, you got to give your ID.
A lot of times these companies, when they know what's going on, will look the other way. So the fact that they were publicly be like, no, that's fine. Okay,
that's why apparently the illegal immigrant scams are massive in rural areas where you're less likely to encounter a business.
Of course. What about Uber Eats though? Have you tried that?
No.
One thing I will say, as somebody who signs up for the modern day stuff where you're on your phone, you sign up for a new program or something that you have to have an ID, you have to show your face. We were talking about this recently. I signed up for Shipt, SHIPT, just to check it out. And part of the process for me was a Zoom call. And so I said, oh, they're pretty tight, Chad. You're going to have to do a Zoom call. The reason I had to do a Zoom call is the AI couldn't recognize a face with my beard when you do like the front and side to side. Yeah. So they were really strict to make sure that I was a real person, that I matched my ID, to the point where I had to meet somebody on a Zoom call and just have like a quick little 5-minute, which I thought they called it an interview, not to scare me off, but really it was a identification verification because they couldn't get it through the phone. So they're very strict. So to have an app like DoorDash that's not that strict, I mean, you're signing up to all the agreements to put your face in there, but it's easy also to get hacked, and then now all your private information is in there. So I can see both ways why you want to be anonymous, but also why somebody inviting a person into your house and saying, oh, could you bring the food in and put it on my table, is a place where you want a background check, a face, an ID, and to feel comfortable. You're trusting the company who's sending the delivery person to your house.
Well, ever since COVID, I haven't done any inside the house deliveries in years. Except like there's like 1 or 2 like people, like repeat customers, like senior citizens that know me, like that I'll do it for, and that's funny because before COVID, I used to love to go into people's houses because it almost 9 times out of 10 meant a cash tip or just like they were going to boost your tip on the app. But now, like even like those few people that I do, kitchen side or, kitchen table delivery, they don't tip, or that they do, it's like a really stingy tip. But I wanted to get back to something he was saying. He was saying he was going to ID the DoorDash drivers. But it's almost kind of pointless because, like I said, like there's no picture of the DoorDash driver in the customer app. So like,
he has nothing to cross-reference it to.
Yeah, I mean, all they
have to start keeping his own database of his drivers and then calling in and checking.
Well, he could call the gate and be like, "There's a DoorDash driver. His name's Chad." So if somebody shows up with DoorDash and it's anybody but Chad, but because it'll be like, then like the security guard might be like, "What's his last name?" I don't know. It just says Chad, And then like it could be, actually, it's funny. Like going back to Miguel, like so if they're illegal immigrants, it's totally possible that like it could be a guy named Miguel using another guy named Miguel's, account. Something like that. But yeah, like a lot of gated communities do that. I don't know how gated communities are up there, but like there's tons of them down here, and it's so annoying because like they scan your license, and then because like they're not, I guess they're kind of doing what he's saying. Like depends on the community, but some of them they actually like they'll play like this recording and it'll say Chad Instacart for, and then it'll say the address or whatever. So, I think there's only a few minutes left here. Did you want to wrap this up or?
Oh, I have plenty of time. I was just thinking, I was zoning out for a little bit because I was thinking back when I lived in Massachusetts and I did the gig economy. I was in the city and I was fighting with a lot more competition. Some of the apps were newer, so people hadn't picked up on it and they haven't figured out scams. But I think competing with non-Americans was much more frequent there. Now I live in rural New Hampshire, and I mean my gym is open 24 hours a day. There's no employees. You scan yourself in, you scan yourself out, you walk in. It's like what I've seen, completely safe. People leave their bikes out or whatever. We don't have the same type of competition up here, but also as they try to move people in here, because there was a project by the U.S. government at the federal level to move in illegals to New Hampshire. They don't make it long. We have no handouts, very little welfare or whatever. They end up just moving back to Massachusetts.
Yeah.
So
remember when DeSantis sent all those illegals up to Martha's Vineyard
in Massachusetts? Yeah, that was great. So I haven't done enough gig work up here, but I have shown you the prices of what stuff is going on, and there has to be, up here it might be college students, because if you go to, when I was in Massachusetts, if you go to a Dunkin' Donuts, it's 40 something-year-old people second language is English. And if I go to Dunkin' Donuts up here in New Hampshire, it's a 14, 15, 16-year-old working the counter as their first skill set job. So I'm wondering if our gig economy has lower prices, or these prices is getting forced down how they should be with newly skilled individuals, unless you take it to the level like you, where you're using Gridwise or whatever, and you're really super organizing with these spreadsheets. So I don't know how I would speak on it here, but again, I'm torn. If they just removed all the subsidies and stuff, this might be a viable business to organize less skillful people by you taking in all the money. Mm-hmm. And then you can take in an order that's $10 and an order that's $100, and then divide it out so that the people that are working for you could get like an hourly if they need an hourly. So I could see it being a viable business if there wasn't these subsidies getting in the way. You know what I mean?
You're talking about like kind of like a what's it called? Like when you own a McDonald's,
the franchise.
Yeah, franchise model. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was just thinking. So like for instance, you're really good with spreadsheets and stuff, right? So if you had if you got an Amazon Flex account, and they allowed you legally to let other people underneath you work the account, and you're like, well, it's not worth it to me to do this block at $70. But if somehow you had multiple accounts and you could get multiple people going out there doing one at 90, one at 70, one at 50, two more at 70, you could then divide the money and give like everybody $60.
Yeah, I think that's what I was going to say. I think it's like he was talking about before, like the illegals like working in like a cartel, like you were saying. Yeah, I don't think it's that they're skimming off the top, because like these DoorDash orders come in for like $2-3. So it's like, is the cartel head making $1 and the driver gets $1? I think it's more of like a flat rate, because like that's how the Instacart, like if you want to buy an Instacart account, it just like you pay, it's like renting, like on Uber or Lyft where you rent a Tesla. It's like you pay them like probably a couple $100 a week, and then you can keep the rest. Like they're the ones that actually manage all the accounts, and like they might like say, okay, like today you're going to use this account, or like they might just literally hand you a physical phone, every day, and say, okay, this is your phone today or whatever. It's like it's too much of a like I said, like so many of the orders are like only a few dollars, and like if you're gonna have like this like penny pyramid scheme, like that really isn't worth it. So like I think like it would have to be like some kind of flat rate kind of thing. There's only a few minutes left on this. I just want to finish this up. I'm not sure if they said anything amazing or whatever, but we'll find out.
I would say, unfortunately, for these illegal immigrant scammers, we are a business in a rural area, and we have a security gate and security guards. So I said from now on, all deliveries have to be ID checked. Yeah. Which basically means we can never do these deliveries anymore. So the real solution, something with 𝗏𝗏𝗏, is we're going to have to just have a staff member go and do all deliveries and pickups for us.
Or you could just get a guy to be a cook here.
Yeah, that's a lot more expensive. But we have entertained the idea. It's just that's a budget level we're not at to have like a person cooking. But Fridays
here's what you do. Easy. Find a 5-year-old minority, call them a racial slur. You raise $500,000. That pays for your chef.
There you go. Perfect.
I think I'm going to do that. All right, kids, you're on warning.
So I'll just say,
I don't care what my star. I'm going to call them the N-word.
We'll grab some more chats, but I'll just say one more thing, guys. When you experience this with DoorDash or any other service, these are illegal immigrants illegally working here and scamming you and everybody else through that service. And I think DoorDash doesn't include the profile information and lets it happen.
I feel some sympathy for these people, I got to tell you.
That they came here illegally and now they're trying to skirt the system so they can...
Yeah. I kind of do feel sympathy for them. Like if they have a crappy job and they're actually bringing me my food, these are not my primary targets.
Have you ever checked the markup for DoorDash?
I have.
It's like 30%. It's
30% on Taco Bell.
It's crazy
for me.
It's 30% on Taco Bell.
On Taco Bell, like I said, I can afford the.
I ordered on DoorDash a local restaurant for delivery, and then it gave me an error saying they were no longer open.
Okay.
So I called them directly and said we're open. I said, well, DoorDash won't let me do the delivery, and they said, well, just take your delivery here. It was $100 cheaper.
What were you ordering?
I'm ordering food for the office.
Yeah. Oh,
so it's gonna be 4 burgers, 4 chicken sandwiches, like two like seriously, it's gonna be like 8 sandwiches and like 5 appetizers.
Okay, I got you.
And it was $100 cheaper, and it's crazy. So when you look at that, and then you look at how they're running these scams, I'm just like, dude, I don't know if they're the only company that's doing it, but I'm sick of it, man.
So why are you so against Uber Eats?
I never used it.
I mean, it could be they have the solution to your problem.
Sure, maybe. So we'll check.
Yeah.
I'm just saying for
'Cause
now.
Uber, I think they have
show your ID.
Uber, I think will.
Yep.
You
Show
have
your
to be-
face and everything.
ID, yeah.
Yep.
They run a check.
I just think everybody else should be cognizant of that.
That's pretty much the end of the clip that I wanted to share. But he did make a few good points there. He just said like the markup is outrageous.
Yeah.
Although I will say, like, to the consumers that use DoorDash, Grubhub, Instacart, all that stuff, it's cheaper in the long run if you just buy the yearly subscription. It's usually like $100 a year, and then like they waive a bunch of fees, and if as long as you order like $12 or more, you get free delivery. So that helps make it cost effective if you're going to use it a lot. And it's funny, they did say, like Michael said, Uber will have the driver's ID.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to address. Go ahead.
Although I will say, Uber, I don't know in your market, but Uber Eats here is god awful. Like I don't even turn Uber Eats on anymore, except maybe like on a Friday or Saturday night, because I keep getting orders for like, I don't know, $7 or $8 to go like 20 miles. It's absolutely ridiculous. Like I don't even turn Uber Eats on anymore. I make more money doing rideshare actually.
Well, the thing that Michael was touching on at the end, which is good, is you have Grubhub, DoorDash, Uber Eats, and probably some other ones based on your city that will deliver food. I don't use the apps when I get food delivered. I usually go to the store or call them and see if they do delivery. I know a lot of people just don't like talking to people anymore.
Yeah.
Like I said, I live in a rural New Hampshire, so the people are super friendly. You go in there, they say hi, they remember you, you pick up your food. It's part of the experience for me. When I lived in the city, it's like, I got to go fight traffic, find parking, get into this place. The guy's going to be mean to me if he even makes eye contact. So I can see based on where you live. But what's always interesting to me is, for instance, in my area, DoorDash is the leader. Uber Eats, you can barely even get an Uber Eats order, but it's possible. But DoorDash is the leader. If you download Grubhub, they don't even deliver to my house. I would have to use DoorDash or Instacart or Spark. Those are the ones that I can use. So it's weird how if they were all let to go free, you could just pick this app. You could choose from which systems you wanted, and it allowed you to go to almost any market to pick up food to deliver to people. Then they can really compete. But it seems like within the market, they've kind of carved out their own regional niches and delivery niches so that then there's no crossover. Like here in my area, Spark delivers your Walmart. And if you want to get Target delivered, you have to go to Shipt. And if you want to get food delivered from Concord, which is like 20 minutes, it's DoorDash. If you want to use Grubhub, which I have a free account, I can't. I would have to be in Nashua, New Hampshire to even have somebody that delivers Grubhub.
Yeah.
So it's interesting how they've already kind of created their own regions of competition and niches within a pretty close-knit area.
Yeah. Well, I'm just glad that they're exposing this, or at least talking about this, the problem. And he made a good point. He said, I think the companies are in on it, or they look at the other way.
Yeah.
We've been saying that for years, especially like with Instacart when the bots first came out. Is like, and I remember a lot, like when I was doing that cybersecurity online class, I did a podcast like this with my cybersecurity professor. I showed him like the footage of like the illegals using the bot grabber, batch grabber, and he was just saying, he said basically the same thing. He's like, as long as the deliveries get done, do these companies really care? And if they get investigated by the FTC or whoever, and like they have to pay some kind of fine, like that's just the cost of doing business. And yeah, it's like, I don't know if there's anything we can do to like, aside from, I mean, like they're trying to deport like 20 million illegals or whatever, like that could take a long time. I don't know. Do you have any other ways to fight back?
Yeah, well,
ideas?
That's kind of what I was saying before. Is like, it would be nice if true free market competition took over, where I think what's happening now, at least I don't know about your area, and you have it more well organized than me. I look at the prices and I'm like, this is not worth it. So if I just ignore this, they'll be forced to raise how much money they give you. But what happens now is somebody that doesn't have to pay taxes on it, that has subsidies for their rent or their food or their electric or whatever. It's like, oh, I'll pick that up because I'm getting paid. I play poker with this kid and he's on disability. And then he plays poker because he can't get a job because if he makes like an extra $500 a month, he loses his disability.
Yeah.
So I think some of these people want their disability and then they want extra money because it's not enough, but they can't have so much that they're on the radar.
Yeah.
The solution for me is pretty much just like, I think Tim nailed it. You just got to take accountability. It stinks, but if you really want to have good service with people you trust and protect the people that are doing it right and doing the delivery work for you. And like Michael said, if he's willing to pay an extra 30% to get Taco Bell delivered, the money isn't an issue to him. And he wants the good service. Then it is, you just have to report every time you have something that's not right. And these corporations pretty easily usually give you a free meal or a free shopping delivery or a credit or whatever. Amazon does it with me. For the stuff that I sell, I have the Amazon FBA account. If my customers complain for any reason, Amazon immediately takes care of them with a free return, a free month of service or whatever. So you're going to get benefit if you spend that couple of minutes reaching out to DoorDash and say, hey, I'm trying to use you frequently, but Miguel was supposed to show up and Linda showed up. What's going on here?
Yeah. You know what's funny is we kind of missed. There's kind of like an elephant in the room I didn't address the entire time is, I don't know if you know, but he's like in West Virginia and I mean, he says he's in like a rural area, probably like how you are, but it's amazing like that even in West Virginia, they're having problems with illegals using DoorDash accounts and stuff. Cause you would think it'd be like confined to like big cities. Cause like I'm in the Orlando area and like there's tons and tons of illegals and just even legal, Hispanic migrants here, if you count Puerto Ricans or not, but so it's not surprising that it happens in Orlando, but it is surprising that it would happen in West Virginia and where you are and somewhere in New Hampshire.
So like I said, I'm kind of north and we don't get as much as you do towards the borders. So if you get down towards that Massachusetts border, you're going to see a lot more of it. We call Nashua, New Hampshire, Nashua, Massachusetts, basically. But if I put on my DoorDash app right now and I wanted to deliver, during the peak lunchtime, it might send me to Concord. But most of the time, if I turn it on, it's going to send me 45 minutes away to Nashua, which is this big city that's on the border of Massachusetts. And when I look at some of the rates, when you get down there, it's like, who is taking this rate? Like you're
100%. Yeah.
You're losing money between the wear and tear and the gasoline on your car. You're losing money doing this. So who's taking this order? So that's the bigger question for me.
I would love to know,
like, really not understanding finances that they do some of these orders. Yeah, because I'll fight against the illegals because usually they would figure out whatever. What I want to know is who are these people that are dumber than that are taking these $3 and $4 orders that unless you need it for, I guess, like a bonus, like if they're giving you a bonus for like 50 deliveries or something.
100, yeah, like if you complete an X number of deliveries in a certain number of days. But I just wanted to show this before we wrap up. This is one of the horrible Uber Eats. Actually, I think this was a Uber Connect. Let me see here. I don't know if you can see this or not. So it's $8 for 30 miles.
Yeah.
You see that? Yeah.
And what would happen in the past is everybody would ignore that until they actually had to eat it and raise it up to something where somebody would take it.
Actually, you know what? I think that's a typo. Like, you know what? I know that area. That is not 30 miles from point A to point B. Yeah. It's probably closer to like 18. But even so, I mean, it's still not worth it. But I think and it's funny because they offered me the same one twice. Is this it? Yeah. See, it went from $7 to $8.
Yeah.
So they put a whole dollar surge on there. I'm pretty
Well-
sure that was a Connect, like a auto parts delivery or something. But yeah. So do you do which gig apps are you doing now, if any?
I haven't done. I re-downloaded Amazon Flex. I
Mhm.
re-downloaded Uber Eats. I don't want to do Uber and Lyft anymore and deal with people, especially up here, because I'll end up. Massachusetts is a pain in the butt, and they'll end up sending me to Logan, and then you can't get another ride because I'm
Yeah.
out of state. When I first started, I could go from Rhode Island to Logan, get Massachusetts rides, go down to TF Green, get more rides in Rhode Island, go to Connecticut, and you could get rides wherever you ended up. I even did a night in New York City one time, and I got paid. Then they made it, they put up borders everywhere.
Yeah.
So anyways, I want to try Shipt just to try it out. I heard that if you do it religiously, you make decent money. I'm going to try DoorDash again, Amazon Flex. I need something that gets me out of the house.
Yeah.
But one thing I would like to say, just at the big picture wise, so when YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and all this stuff started, it was like the punk rock, decentralized media, right? Well, it took them a little bit of while, but now they're in control of YouTube and they're in control of Rumble and they're in control of this new aspect. And then when the gig economy started, we were like, oh, this is like these punk rock 1099 jobs. You download your phone. We're on the whitewater of the future. We're going out there. We're beating the taxi companies. We're taking down these cartels. Well, that's how they sold it to us. But now they're just the new cartels. They're all locked in with the government now. They're all within the regulations. They're all cutting out other people that are trying to start competitors to fight them. Like now there was Coke and Pepsi. Now there's Uber and Lyft. There's a couple of rideshare things that try to start up, and Uber and Lyft just take their money and shut them down, like what was happening from the taxi companies were doing to Uber and Lyft when they first started.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to remember that, like you were saying, they turn their heads about this illegal activity because they're just looking at their bottom line. Like, we're in control of the food delivery market now. Keep advertising. I don't really care who brings you your McDonald's as long as I'm getting paid. If I continue to get paid and there's no issues and you're getting screwed as a driver, I don't think they care. I don't think they care necessarily about their drivers. I think they care about that they keep control of their niche and that they continue to make money now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we actually went a lot longer than I thought we were going to go, but that's okay.
Yeah. Well, it's great to have.
I mean, it's a
to see you
podcast.
again. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny because this is definitely going to be less than an hour, but it's funny, like an hour-long podcast is like short, you know?
Yeah, it's a last
Especially if you
minute thing.
listen to it at 2x speed.
Yeah, it was good to see you again. We'll probably have you. Do you mind if I talk about the other shows or whatever?
Well, let's wrap this up and we'll
Yeah.
do that off mic.
Okay.
All right.
perfect.
So I'll plug all your social, just email or text me, whatever you want me to plug.
Yeah.
And like I said, this might be a pilot. Maybe we can do this like once a week or just whenever we have time or whenever news breaks or whatever. So thanks everybody for watching, and we'll see you when we see you.
Yeah. Take care, guys.
Here.
Safe driving.